Talk about the living God. So PSYCHANNA there's 14 lessons, and it talks about the power of the living God. And you say these affirmations over and over. You go, I invoke the power of the living God. I am finding the power of the living God. I am the power of the living God. And I was doing that a lot last winter. And I was doing these sermons, these rants, just, and the spirit just moving through me and just shaking. I just felt so good and so high and happy. And whereas like a half hour before I was, feeling depressed. So I was letting tones come through me and letting spirit move through me. And it was PSYCHANNA 1 about I am finding the power of the living God. I am finding the power of the living God. And I would say it over and over, and I was coming to terms with, what, I like that. I like the words, the power of the living God. Whereas before, they kind of rubbed me wrong, right? Because as being a fifth generation witch, I've been a psychic my whole life. I've communicated with spirit, communicated with Jesus, communicated with these energies my whole life. And the words, the power of the living God to me represented the established church that would demonize people like me. Oh, you're a witch. Oh, you're a healer. You got to read the Bible. You got to give your life to Jesus. You got to come to the cross. You got to, that's no part of a connection to Mother Earth, to divinity, to Jesus, to God, to me. And so the power of the living God represented that to me, because I'd see the people in the streets and they'd push their book at you, right? The power of the living God. And the church talks about the power of the living God, but they kind of hijack that from you. So you can invoke the power of the living God. And as a creator God, you can create the reality that you want. Okay, so the people that come up to me in the streets and give me those books, they don't share their stories, right? They don't visit. They don't, it's all about the blood of Jesus, like worshiping. We'll do that in another video, but what the blood of somebody, how is that love? How is it loving to continually worship the blood of someone? Anyway, that's for another video. But so the power of the living God represented to me these people that would just kind of force their Bible, their scriptures, their stuff on me, but not empower me, not be kind to me, not embrace me. There was nothing about what they were trying to give me to come to their church or their version of God that felt loving or kind or empowering to me or natural in any way. So I didn't like the words, the power of the living God. And I didn't talk about Jesus all the time either until I've had more communications with Jesus as an adult, and I'm okay. I'm proud to talk that I have a relationship with Jesus. And no, it's not about the cross or the Christian church. Jesus wasn't a Christian. He didn't worship himself. He didn't come here to be worshiped. He came here to break down the old system and to assist us, humanity, to be our highest and best self. So last winter, when I was studying the PSYCHANNA information, I began just saying it every morning that, I believe in the power of the living God. I believe in the power of the living God. And this energy moved through me and rattled me. And our carbon-based bone structure is turning into a crystalline structure. And I would bring through these energies and vibrate so high, and it would take me out of my depression and take me out of my human void and everything that was going on, and just really raise the consciousness. And I really got comfortable with the words, the power of the living God. And so now I invoke the power of the living God, and I know that to be the goddess, the quantum now, the quantum shift. Some call it the Mandela effect. This is all the power of the living God. The power of the living God is being present in every now moment and drawing to you the reality that matches your frequency. That's the power of the living God. You are the living God. Every choice you make literally projects, creates a timeline, a version of reality that you live on, you experience, you perceive. Much like the radio turns in to the rock station or the country station, okay? When you're tuned into one, you can't hear the other. You are a frequency, and you tune into a certain reality based on your belief. Okay, I didn't think in my decades and decades of studying spiritual stuff and downloading and channeling and talking to spirit, I didn't know it was a literal physical shift until I experienced what people call the Mandela effect. And then I realized I actually could shift to a different physical reality. So then I dove into how did I do it? I worked on every trigger and every program, because I'm like, nothing else matters, because I project the version of people, the version of events, the version of life that I'm living based on my own belief, my own triggers, my own programs. So I went into work on every part of that. And so it matters, like loving you, empowering you, sharing myself matters. But why I do it is because it makes me vibrate higher. And I know in that higher vibration that that's what my higher self is telling me I came here to do. That's my mission, to raise the vibration of Mother Earth and her people. That's the whole goal of my church. And I do that through empowering people, helping people to be warm, helping people to have clothes and shoes and the basics that raise their vibration. Okay, the things that matter. And I become very comfortable with the words, the power of the living God. Every now moment, you invoke the power of the living God by your choices. You are quantum. You create your reality by your thoughts. We created every choice we made or didn't make. We created another timeline, another version of us for thousands of years. Those timelines are collapsing as we're splitting into two Earths, okay? And so when you hear me in my stuff, check out Reverend Crystal Cox on Rumble, yelling and just this energy just coming through me, and I'm invoking the power of the living God. That's what the power of the living God is to me. It's the quantum now moment. It's me. I bring all of the God, the divinity in me. And you, each individual is a divine sovereign individual. You create your reality. You are co-creating with Source. You are a creator God. And you are the power of the living God in action. You are creating things that didn't exist before you brought them into existence with your creative power, your power of the living God. I love you, and I will talk to you soon. Email me, reverendcrystalcox@gmail.com, if you'd like to work with me to do any healing work. My church is an all-faith church, Universal Church of Light. I'm out of Port Townsend, Washington. The letter U, churchoflight@gmail.com is our PayPal. Please consider donating to us. I raise the vibration by helping every person I can with the basics. Like instead of laying in a tent, having some coffee, being warm, having some clothes, I find people and I help them to raise their consciousness in any way I can. And I would appreciate your support. My passion in life is to improve the quality of life of others. And I realized that through the incarnation of the power of the living God, I had to improve my own life and love myself more because I was projecting a version of reality in the world based on my beliefs and my own power of the living God that I wasn't using, let's say, properly. I wasn't using it of my own highest and best good and the highest and best good of humanity because I didn't understand it that much, and I kind of repelled at the thought of the power of the living God because the church is like, you gotta read the Bible, you're a sinner, you gotta, and they used the words the power of the living God. But now I use the words the power of the living God for the reasons I've stated in this video, and I love you. Blessings to you all. Bye for now.